was some of that supposed to be funny? Because I don't think it was. Batman v Superman is directed by Michael Bay's slightly talented big brother, Zack Snyder. Stars just about everyone, and is about who knows, because the plot is all over the place. And that was my first thing I didn't like. There were too many things going on. With the movie, with so many characters, you gotta keep it simplistic. But this, it tries to do too much. The too much is good. There's a lot of good ideas in here, but there's just so much of it that it just creates an incohesive mess. Now, let's talk about the laughable moments I mentioned in the beginning. There were moments when I found myself laughing out loud when I was supposed to be sad because of how ridiculous it was. There was a scene where Bruce's parents get killed. Oh, spoilers, Bruce's parents get killed. There's a scene in a cemetery where something happens. It's ridiculous. There's a scene where he falls down a well, and that made me laugh. And it's not supposed to be funny. Why am I laughing at the serious moments? Let me say something I say in every single Zack Snyder review. The pacing was awful. It was all over the place. Like, things just come out of nowhere that's just like, oh, so this is happening. Just kidding, we're going somewhere else. And I'm just like, what? There's one flashback scene in the desert that just came out of nowhere. And there's so much, what the heck's going on in that scene that none of it's explained. And you just have to go with it. That's something I gotta say to everyone who goes to watch this movie. Sit down and just go with it. No matter what happens, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how out of nowhere it comes, you gotta go with it. Now, the cameos. Everyone knows there's a bunch of cameos in this movie. And a lot of people saying, oh, they're so bad. They weren't that bad. One was a bit long, but, like, seriously, they weren't that bad. I think in a movie where there's a bunch of laughable moments, when there's a couple thrown in cameos for no reason in there, then I'm like, okay, it's not the worst thing in the movie, so I guess it's easier to go with. Enough bashing on everyone, let me talk about some good stuff. The dynamic between Batman and Superman was amazing, how they were sort of talked and planned and just... I can't wait to see more of that. I just can't wait to see more of that. Though, how they became friends, that is what I was like, what? It's kind of sudden. They're kind of like, okay, we need them to be buds now, so something else can happen, so we're just gonna sort of make them friends. I'm like, okay, that's a bit rushed. And it wasn't just rushed. The reason why they became friends was like, come on, really? So, I'm gonna talk more in detail about that in my spoiler review that I'll put up like Monday or something. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. She was great too. She wasn't overused, she wasn't underused. Perfect way of adding a character for a future film that makes sense in the story. And her fight stuff was cool too. Yeah, she was great. Now, let's talk about the big story that seems to be most people's complaint about the movie. Jesse Eisenberg. He was fine. I mean, he wasn't like a Gene Hackman or a Kevin Spacey good, but I mean, he was fine. There are certain times where I thought that is perfect. There's a scene with him and the senator, they talk, and then something happens later referencing that scene. I'm just like, that's perfect Lex. And then there's other things, like him feeding people Jolly Ranchers, that I'm just like, what? 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 Yeah, for every scene that I loved Lex Luthor, there was a scene that just made me go, what the heck? Just bring in Bryan Cranston, okay? Overall, this is a convoluted mess with too many characters and bad pacing and so many what the crap is going on scenes that just sort of took me out of the movie. But in the end, I kind of had fun. I mean, in the end, movies supposed to entertain you, and though this is a poorly made movie, I had fun. So I'm gonna give this the score I give to every single movie that I know is poorly made, but I still like watching it. 6.5 out of 10. My guilty pleasure number. And that's probably what this is gonna go down as, is a guilty pleasure. Because it's not very good, but it's fun to watch. All you gotta do as a viewer is just lower your expectation a couple notches and go in thinking this is gonna suck like I did, so you can come out of it having a good time. So yeah, that's all I got for you today. Comment your rating down below. Try not to hate on critics too much because they rated this lowly. It's their job. Stop hating on Rotten Tomatoes critics. Don't forget to subscribe and have a nice day, you lovely people.